Live from the internet, this is the Crystal Chronicles, your unofficial official Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast. This is episode 57, recorded on June 6, 2019. I am your host, Mark, and I am joined by my good friend and yours, Minospelgud. How you doing, Mino?
Hey, Mark. Hey, biggest fan in chat.
Yeah, your biggest fans here. That makes you feel pretty good. I am also joined by our co-host and dear friend, Kriese, a.k.a. Zerink. How you doing, Kriese?
I am doing well. I am pretty much at a good point for finishing Ifrit Board Summon treasure farming, so I feel pretty good. I only have a few characters left that I'm saving.
I am not, but I've been busy and not been able to do that. We also have a special guest, as we have these last several weeks. This is one of our best friends, one of the people we enjoy his work and his content creating. He is the creator of so many wonderful things on Reddit, the call to arms, the co-op cheat sheets, and the video guides, which have increased all of our playability. And so we welcome, for the first time on our show, our good friend, Macnol. How are you doing, Macnol?
Hi, Mark. Hi, everybody. Thank you for the extremely generous introduction. And I'm fine. I'm extremely tired. It's been a hard week, but I'm very happy to join you finally.
We are glad that you are joining us, and we're going to go through, of course, a little later in the show, a little bit more about you, and you're going to take the survey which Mino has developed for our guest, but you're also going to get a chance to tell us a little bit more about the work that you've been doing. But first, news and events. So there's not a lot of news. Besides, we have the Lost Chapter additional rewards now available from Squall Lost Chapter to Sabin Lost Chapter. That gave us 500 gems for completing the Lost Chapter for all of those, and a free 15 CP for all of those characters. So if you had weapons for all those characters, great. You just got a Power Stone. If not, you got weapons for all those characters. So what do you guys think about that?
There wasn't a banner to accompany this, right?
Correct.
I'm not crazy. Okay, but I'm saying I think Squall to Sabin is 12 stages, so we got 6k gems for free. So that's enough for a pull. So it would have been nice if they threw a banner at us, and we also got the 15 CPs. And to clarify, because I know people were asking around the community, you don't have to do these heretics to get them. They're automatically in the missions. They're added permanently.
Yeah.
So when new players complete the LCs, they get the mission rewards.
And to be clear, you don't have to complete the hard modes, it's just the normal modes, so fully clearing the Lost Chapter gets you credit.
So Macnol, as the person on air right now with the most number of gems, did you have a lot of these 15 CP weapons, or did you get a whole bunch that you hadn't had before?
If I remember correctly, I had, I think, 5 or 6 of them. Not all by choice. Some I got as of banners. But even the ones I had, I still needed a few to MLB some weapons. And so, yeah, it was a very nice haul.
I think for me, the only non-Power Stone I got was Seymour's 15. Everything else I had MLB already. Kriese?
I had most of the weapons MLB'd. The two I did not were Sabin's 15 CP and Seymour's 15 CP. And actually, Seymour's 15 CP that I got for free with this allowed me to MLB that weapon and sell it. So that worked out pretty well.
Awesome.
Mark, how was your haul?
I think I still needed... Who is in this list of list of characters? I don't think I had... let me see. I didn't have any weapons for Seymour. That's it. So, and I don't think I had everybody's max limit broke, but I had quite a few of them. So, yeah. Well, that brings us to this new event. We weren't quite sure what it was going to be, but it did launch this week, called Perfectum, the Lost Chapter Trials. And these are 4 events: Perfectum Lost Chapter Trial 1, 2, 3, and 4. Each one of them is a kind of a mini heretic. There are 3 battles that you have to kind of do as a non-synergy heretic. To get the mission rewards, you actually have to bring the Lost Chapter character. So part 1 is Squall, Vanille, Setzer. Part 2 is Balthier, Eiko, and Tidus. Part 3 is Prishe, Faris, and Ramza. Part 4 is Ace, Seymour, and Sabin. And you need to bring each one of them to their own battles. And then you can bring whoever you want to the quest level 90. They are not very difficult. And Square thought, or Square said, they told us these were supposed to be for beginners. So
yeah, I think the enemy levels were 60. Maybe the final wave was 90, but I don't think they tweaked anything from the original LCs. I think they just brought them all together.
The first 3 battles were level 60, and the final battle was level 90.
Right. So I think they just it might have been a copy paste, but I'm fine with it. This is honestly extra gems and extra content for GL as usual. Because with the retroactive patch for JP, they just got the gems and the weapons, which we got. Now we get gems, weapons, extra gems, and extra content. So, and I'm sure Kriese and Macnol, you guys can back me up. A lot of people have been having fun revisiting this. It's like a mini stroll through memory lane, and people have been doing a lot of duo runs for the fun of it for these heretics.
I just crushed the fights and left it at that, honestly. I brought strongest characters and said, nope, you're dead, especially against some of the bosses that had given me trouble back in the past, just like
Vengeance.
I think Tidus's initially and Ace's.
I think what I did was, for fun, I was running the full synergy for each one of the heretics.
Oh, yeah, that would have been fun.
Yeah, just to see, how much stronger these characters have gotten after the awakening, right? So that was a lot of fun. But then when I went to the final 90 fights and I tried, for example, if the first wave was Squall, Vanille, Setzer, for that final 90 fight, I'd bring Squall, Vanille, Setzer. But that was getting too slow, so I just, I just snowballed through that with some meta characters. But I mean, new content's always appreciated, and because it's garbage time, we get a lot of time to experiment and have fun right now.
Macnol, how did you feel about these Perfectum Lost Chapters?
Oh, I had a lot of fun on them. I do not think too much about which teams I was gonna use. I just saw the featured character for each stage and picked what I think would work best or something I wanted to try. But I talked to many other players. Some of them are rather new to the game, and one thing I stressed in our Discord channel, and I'll say it here again, it's very nice seeing some newer players having finally the chance to finish some heretic style quests, because they had a lot of trouble with the Delta and Theta quests before, and now they can finally say, yeah, I'm progressing in the game, I can do it finally.
That is a brilliant point, and that's why we have you around, Macnol. You are bridge to the common man. So you speak for the people, right?
We have an entire order of clergy that's their role. So I'll start referring to you as Deacon Macnol. He's our bridge, bridge to the world.
And as Hate13 saying in chat, a lot of people felt like this was a great cathartic event to revisit the Berserker Knights from Vanille's LC and just completely plow through them with the new units. I know that's been mentioned a lot, so good shout out.
Yeah, my only question was going to be, were these doable for new players? That was my question. It seems like Macnol has seen some newer players affirm that yes, these were beatable. So that's good. If you are a newer player, let us know if you were able to tackle them. I wasn't sure because of, you did need the special characters. You did need the Lost Chapter characters. Obviously, you can go and get them, but you may not have gear for them or only a 15 CP, so that could be challenging. So, But yeah.
I suspect that with Awakenings available, the power creep is high enough that these should not be challenging for even newer players, as long as they have enough characters to get through all the stages.
Yeah, just enough characters. Because again, these are 60 enemies, and I think when the
Yes.
LCs first dropped in the 50 era, the highest level was 90, I believe. Yeah, it was. It was 90.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I fully believe new players can complete it. Plus, they have all month, and we're getting what? Golbez and Renoa and Kefka and
Who knows?
Lena. You know, like all these. You pick any one of those, they'll probably cream any of these stages.
Yeah, not only that, but
Awakening reworks.
the level is lower than our hard chapter normal levels. So it's a lower level, and you can be sure that you have at least the basic kit for the character. You have the 5-star armor and 15 CP per free.
They even threw in high shards for each character. Don't forget. So
yeah, I guess you only need the 3 lost chapter characters to carry, and only 6 additional characters. So 9 total different characters. So you know, after a few months, hopefully you would be able to have that cadre of characters built up. So good. Well, moving right along, I don't think we need to spend any more time on Perfectum. If you are having trouble with that, let us know. You can join our Discord. We'll be happy to help. We have a help section, and lots of people who are very skilled in the game, including at least 2 or 3 of the hosts. That moves us on to Kefka Lost Chapter, which has a little bit more difficult than level 60 battle. But let's start by talking about what's the I was going to say the Crown Prince of Crime. That's a different clown. What the mad clown Kefka got in his awakening. Kriese, please let us know. And we thank you for your work on Reddit with your evaluation. But let us know, what did his crazy clown ship get with his awakening and with his EX weapon?
Kefka got quite a bit with his awakening, to be honest. His awakening passives raise his max brave and attack while he's buffed, increases his speed quite a bit while the enemy is debuffed, which is a pretty good thing because Kefka has a pretty bad speed base. Along with this, both of his abilities, Trine and Lighted Judgment, with their extension passives became AoE attacks, got more brave hits, got stronger brave hits, got the ability to brave overflow, higher turn rate, and Light of Judgment also gives him an attack up buff so that he can actually activate his own passives. So his kit got pretty good. He just got a lot of power, the ability to debuff better. It's pretty strong. Along with that, he got a very powerful EX weapon. It gives him the ability Havoc Wing, the EX ability Havoc Wing, which is on a normal recast. It's a 3-hit magic attack that does more damage against debuff targets, followed up by an HP attack. It also can Brave Overflow, and it applies a special debuff called Sneering Clown, which is a combined attack down, defense down, speed down, and sap debuff all in one thing. Along with that, it also has a Zanetsuken-like effect, where it can break targets even if he doesn't deal enough brave damage to break them normally. And along with that, his MLB EX weapon raises his brave attack potency and also raises his max brave just passively. Overall, Kefka turned into a debuff king with this. It's pretty impressive just how much he got with his EX, or with his awakening and EX.
To add to that, I believe his instant break chance, it says medium chance. We don't have the right numbers, but medium chance means anywhere from 40 to 60%. So I think you could just probably say 50%, which is pretty good. There have been some videos out there with him cheesing fights where he does 1 damage with his EX and still getting the breaks. So people have used that. And he's even a popular pick for the very first Cosmos event we get with Arc 2 Chapter 3, because he's still viable. He's basically the Tidus for now, with the exact same debuffs and the power to back it up. And they're very good debuffs. But other than that, I think he's pretty solid. Do you have like a general rotation recommendation for this Kriese?
Yeah, I can give a general rotation. You want to start with Lighted Judgment as your first ability use because you want that attack up buff, especially if he doesn't have someone who can give him any generic buffs to activate his passive. It also applies his basic debuffs immediately. From there, depending on the length of the fight, you might go either with the Meteor from his Brave attack if you need to conserve ability uses, or you'll just go straight into Trine and load up with Blind and HP attack lock. You basically want to use Havoc Wing on cooldown, or every time it's up. It takes about 3 uses to initially charge, and in my experience, it's about every other to every 3 ability uses you can use it once it is fully charged once. It just does crazy amounts of damage, and you want to take advantage of that as much as possible.
I do not have a fully kitted Kefka. I remember back in his 50 era, he suffered from just a terrible amount of damage. Now, that's not his purpose. He is a debuffer, and he has very unique debuffs, which in specific situations are great.
Right. I can't wait till, I'm sure, as Macnol's Call to Arm threads advance and we enter Cosmo stage, I'm sure we'll find the odd fight that people are going to cheese with the Havoc Wing instant break and the HP attack silence. I'm sure people are going to find uses for that.
Well,
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say I have him fully awakened. I have his 15 CP ML bead, and I have a 0 MLB 35 CP. And I found his damage actually to be fairly acceptable for his role at this point in time.
That is one thing I forgot to mention with his awakening. Along the extension passives actually give him the ability that when his AoE attacks hit a single target, it has the Brave damage multiplier we've come to expect from most AoE attacks. That helps him quite a bit, and the fact that he can Brave overflow so much on all his abilities helps him too in being able to deal HP damage pretty regularly.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Not the best wave clear, of course. I don't know. He's a niche unit. He'll see use. Like, I like these niche gimmicky units because the community will always find ways to employ them. Like, we have Erole and Decrith and Amaterasu who love playing with these niche-ass units for some fun comps and runs. So I look forward. I think he's a good pickup. And from what I've seen, at least in our Discord, a lot of people lucked into him with the 13 ticket challenge.
Yeah.
So,
Not me.
You know,
not you.
Macnol, have you? Yeah, not me. Macnol, have you gotten a chance to use the Awaken Kefka? Did you awaken him all the way?
No, not at all. I decided to skip him completely because way back when I decided I would not focus on debuff characters.
Yeah,
because they are always in danger of being neutered by bosses.
Yes.
When I got the Tidus EX by accident, for the next 2 events, he was completely shut down because the bosses were immune to any debuff. So I decided I would not focus too much on debuffers, and eventually I got 3 or 4 very well geared debuffers against my will. So I thought, okay, I will not give any chance.
So this being a big skip for you, that's fine. Did you at least awaken him with crystals?
No, not even that. I just carried his sorry ass with 50-50 and still got a high score for the challenge, for the stage. So forget it.
Let's talk about that carry, by the way. So this event, I thought it was pretty easy. I mean, it's garbage time, so I expect everything to be easy. But I mean, I carried a 0 LB 35 CP Kefka, so I didn't even have the 15 CP passive. I know a lot of people did it with just his. Hell, a lot of people did it with a level. Yeah, I've seen a level 31 Kefka crystal level 50 completed. I've also seen a crystal level 20 level 50 Kefka complete it and get the score. So, I mean, I was going to say when Kriese was talking, or when both you and Kriese were talking about how he does good damage for his, I'm just gonna well, everyone does good damage in garbage time, honestly. But I mean, I think this event is pretty easy when you can blind carry a not even max level Kefka for
Well, let's
it. But,
talk about the event. We are in a lost chapter, so we have a level 100. It is part 13, 5 waves, and you get to fight 2 Squall wizards. And these are the liches that telegraph their HP attack. Bart's is synergy, Tifa is synergy, and Kefka is synergy. Yeah, I brought my level 50 awakened 15 CP at that point. Kefka and Bartz and Kistis, just to mess around. Certainly didn't have any problem. But Macnol is the author of our Call to Arms and video guides. So is there any interesting video things or stuff you would like to share about this LC from the Call to Arms, Macnol?
Yeah, this more than any other LC, people had fun carrying the featured character without not only without their full kit or even his weapons. They carried him without levels. There is one run with him at Crystal Strength 1 and level 27.
Okay, so here's the question, because 5DPZ in chat says it doesn't matter because a 1/1 Kefka is just a Quistis friend in disguise, because you'll swap him in. So the question is, did they actually use the Kefka, or was he just substituted in?
I mean, you'd still need his 20 crystal levels to get his second skill.
Mm-hmm.
So
right. Yeah,
that person didn't even use his second skill. He was just present to fulfill the requisite for the challenge.
Yeah, I think people have duoed it, right? I'm not sure.
Yeah, several duo runs. It's been a trend now, and it's very fun because it's not even always the same duos. People are getting very, very creative with the duos they use.
Right, and to quote Arolai about garbage time, or no, it was you, Macnol. You called me out on Discord. You're like, can we please not call it garbage time? I think you said you want to call it vacation time, right?
Oh yeah, because I don't want to make it sound too negative. Because come on, guys, we all got our asses beat recently by Ager's EX and Deuce's EX. We know how painful this game can be, and it probably will be soon enough. So we can always try to enjoy the good points of an easier time and have fun and try to learn. Sometimes you just learn, as I said another time in our Discord too, you only learn the real way to use a character if you put it in your team and go to some battles. And now we have the opportunity to do it. You don't have to use only your best characters. Try something new out. You may be surprised.
Yeah, and just last shot in is 5DPC says Quistis friend. I believe everyone's finding Kuja friend to be the superior friend in this LC.
Awesome.
Well, the data disagrees.
Okay.
Yeah, we have
completely wrong. This is why we have Macnol, so we don't throw random presumptions out. We have hard data for any of our conversations. Thank you, Macnol. Stats.
Yeah, we have an 80% use of Quistis as friend, and only 13% for Kuja.
It's not even close.
Not even. I call Quistis bias. This is some form of sexism. Quistis is a hot new thing. So people aren't thinking. They're just being like, well, actually, or if you're like me, you don't even have a choice because 100% of your friend list is Quistis. So even if I wanted to bring Kuja, I don't think I could.
Yeah,
some of us
but I will admit
non-Quistis though. I still have plenty of Kujas on my list.
I will point out though that the highest score we had used the Kuja, but plays are Quistis.
Okay, well I'll take that top scorer Kuja. All right. I think that's it for this event, right, Mark? Unless you have something else you add.
Kriese had something about an infographic, so did you want to hit that? I wasn't sure what that was.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to do a quick shout out. There's been a group lately on the subreddit that has been releasing infographics for recently awakened characters and recently released characters. They've taken the name the Tonberry Troupe, and these are basic infographics that give the basic data for what the characters do, what their artifact passive priorities are, what buffs they can provide for themselves and for allies, what their attacks do. Basic, quick snapshot stuff that you can look at visually and get a quick idea on what the character does. And I wanted to give that a call out because a lot of people on the subreddit have been really finding that useful as a quick way to look and not have to dig through my numbers and see what this character does in a more detailed fashion.
So it is a group? I thought it was just Inkwelder.
Inkwelder has been posting them, but he says that there are others working on them. For example, the Golbez one, he specifically shouts out another person, the Tonberry Troupe. as contributing primarily to making that.
Okay, great. Yeah, they're on Reddit all the time. Tons of upvotes, so you can't miss them. I think every time they're posted, they shoot right to the top. And Inkwelder has recently joined our podcast Discord server, so we've collected another content creator in our community. So, that's always great if you want to come talk to him or get some feedback. And, he's been a pleasure to have around.
Awesome. Appreciate all those content creators on Reddit, on Discord, on YouTube, on Twitch, and Facebook, and Twitter, and Snapchat. I don't know if there's anybody on Snapchat, but wherever you are, thank you for all that hard work. It helps our community quite a bit. So we move from the Mad Clown to the Clad in Darkness Night Golbez, who is dropping in 34 minutes from the time of this recording. We're not going to go into his event in great detail. We'll talk about it tomorrow, but Kriese's evaluation is already up. So Kriese, did you want to talk briefly about Golbez?
It's impossible to talk briefly about Golbez's kit. It's huge.
Let's tackle this in our normal fashion. So Kriese. Oh shit! I was gonna say, what does he get in his awakening? But he's a new character, right?
What does he get
never
in
mind.
his awakening?
All right, Kriese, can you just give us a very, very brief overview of his skills?
I'll give you a brief overview of him as best as I can. Golbez has a primary gimmick in a special buff of his called Shadow Dragon. This buff can stack up to 3 times, and as he gains more stacks of Shadow Dragon, he gets higher attack and higher max brave, and he gains access to more powerful versions of his 2 basic abilities. His first basic ability is Rising Wave, which is a dark attack that's combined magic and melee, and hits for a decent potency. It can Brave Overflow, and it also provides him with a max Brave up buff. As he gets Shadow Dragon stacks, he adds on a second Brave plus HP attack to that. The potency goes up, and once he's at max Shadow Dragon stacks, it becomes an even bigger attack. His second ability is Glare Hand, which is an AoE Brave plus HP attack. Same thing, Dark Element, and targets melee and magic types of attacks. And as he gains stacks of Shadow Dragon with that, it becomes stronger, gets a second Brave plus HP component, and he also applies attack up to himself with this once fully awakened. And finally, his EX ability is hopefully called Twin Meteor, because I don't know if they're translating it that way or not yet. But it immediately gives him 3 stacks of Shadow Dragon. He does 2 AoE Dark Magic Brave plus HP attacks that can Brave Overflow back to back, and he imperils Dark in the middle of this. The major gimmick with Golbez's kit is that Glare Hand and Rising Wave cannot refresh Shadow Dragon stacks once he gets to max stacks, so he has to rely on his EX ability Twin Meteor in order to maintain those stacks, or he'll lose them over time. The other major gimmick is that, or the major point I want to make is that Twin Meteor is on a slow minus recast speed. This recast speed is the same as characters like Dark Knight Cecil and Garnet.
Oh, rough.
It charges, from videos I've observed, it charges fast enough that he can maintain his Shadow Dragon stacks, but he might be pushing it a little bit. And the last thing I want to mention is that because all of his attacks, except for his EX, are tied to both melee and magic, he actually can get resisted by one or the other partially, and he has to be careful of dealing with those situations.
Let's touch on that, because I know that's something that people are talking about. But for now, okay, so since you done all the research, and I haven't, I'll approach you from like a layman's point of view. Is basically, so from what I'm hearing, he's basically like another version of Kuja with the big AoEs and the. I think you even said in your evaluation his potencies are pretty much almost the same, right?
His potencies are very similar to Kuja's. Obviously, if he's hitting weakness, which he can hit weakness easily with his Dark Imperil, he'll do more damage than Kuja, but he also has a downside in that it's easier to resist him because he has 3 different typings, Dark, Magic, and Melee. But yeah, his base potencies are very similar, with his EX doing more potentially more damage as a higher potency, but not doing full damage, HP damage to all targets. It's split HP damage, whereas Kuja's Force Symphony is full HP damage, but they're very similar. They're also similar in the way that they have a build-up mechanic before they get to their full power.
Okay, and then so touching on his most unique thing is, as you've said, all of his attacks are dark and melee and melee and magic, right? Not just physical. Yeah, melee and magic. I mean, as we've established, like Kuja, you need that EX to keep him at 100% uptime. He's gonna have peaks and valleys. But so let's argue this. Play devil's advocate to me, Kriese. So if I think the whole melee plus magic plus dark thing is a downside, can you argue the upside? Because so what a lot of people are saying is this might be a plus for Golbez because you can bring him to something that resists melee or magic, and he'll only be gimped to 75% instead of 50%. That's what a lot of people are arguing. I don't agree with that at all, because people argue the same thing with Imperilers. They're saying, oh, you can bring an Imperiler to a fight that resists them, then they can just reduce them to neutral and they're doing fine. Well, when was the last time anyone did that? Who brought an Imperiler to a resist fight? Why would you do that when you could just bring either someone who can hit weakness or someone who doesn't have to be gimped at all?
I actually agree with you completely. However, to play devil's advocate,
Yes,
I will
please.
say that if you want to invest in a single character who will be very good in more situations and not get as gimped in as many situations, because he'll still do some power, he'll still have some power behind him. He'll be able to mitigate some of the loss that characters like Kuja cannot mitigate. Golbez is your man. He can knock down that dark resistance. He's only partially mitigated if something is resistant to magic or melee. So if you want to load into just one character and have them carry you for a while, you can do worse than Golbez. He's
That's
very
a
good
great
at that.
point. Thank you. Actually,
The problem, however, is that's not realistic, especially with heretic fights like the ones we had last month. You can't have one character carry you to victory. You need a wider roster that can deal with various situations. Trying to rely on one character is going to get you caught.
Yeah, that's a great Macnol, Mark, do you guys have anything to add to this?
Hard pass.
What do you guys think? We'll go one by at a time. Mark, do you
Hard
think
pass.
this unique trait? Okay, pass.
Nope.
Macnol, do you think this unique trait is a bane or a boon for Golbez?
For me, personally, it's a bane because I don't like restrictive characters. I
was
like
gonna say the
having,
same.
yeah, I like having a varied toolbox. And if I have one tool that's only useful in certain situations, it doesn't feel like it's worth investing to.
I agree with you completely. Having 3 types on your attacks, some people will say, oh, well, if they resist one, the others will get around it. For me, he has such a high chance of any one of those being resisted. Melee, magic, or dark, like that's not even a non-element. It's tied to dark. So it's rough. But so I'm not planning to pull other than the 13 ticket challenge, right? But I don't know. I feel like this is just not a character I'm interested from a gameplay design at all. And I usually love these nerdy. I don't even think this is gimmicky. I think this is the opposite of gimmicky. I think Golbez is trying to cover too many bases at once, and jack of all trades always suffer. Are you guys, Mark? You're probably not going to pull it all, are you?
Nope. We'll find out a little bit more next week as people get him, and I think Decrith has probably been talking about pulling, and so he'll maybe do some post pull work and show us how he actually plays out here in global. So the good news is he is getting a nice boost in Japan right now. But we'll talk about him in more detail next week, because if we don't, you won't have anything to talk about. So
right. What? Wait. Well, last word. What I wanted to say is, people are saying that Golbez is the best friend for trash wave clears on his release. Better than Kuja, better than Renoa even, because Renoa has some build up. But apparently Golbez is the best if you just want to come in and clear trash waves. So I guess he's the new Squall for a little bit. So he doesn't completely get, benched forever upon release.
All right. Well, that brings us to our time with our special guest, Macnol. So, Mino, would you take away the questionnaire and let Macnol share a little bit about who he is and what his experience is in DFFOO?
Okay. Thank you for that introduction, Mark. So, Macnol, if you're ready, I'm going to be asking you questions as usual. You're a regular in our community. You know how this goes. So, first question. When did you change your name from Mancol to Macnol?
I cannot answer that unless I'm forced to in trial.
I mean, I know it's a different brand change. I know our own Monta and our own Kriese have gone through different name. Oh, wait, actually, Kriese, you haven't, right? Did you change your name on Reddit?
No, it's still Zurink.
Okay, Monta went from something to Monta. I remember specific.
Montekia is
Yeah,
his full name. Yes.
yeah. So all the veterans of the community will remember Macnol used to go by Mancol, but now he has rebranded to Macnol, which he won't tell us why. But so moving on though, second question, Macnol, is so you're known in the community for the call to arms thread, right? Want to tell us a little bit about how that idea came to you and the inspiration for it?
Yeah, no problem. It started out because I saw every new EX, every new hard event that happened. People usually just talked about the newer units, the newer characters that were very hyped, and there was this hive mind saying they were the only way to beat. And if you didn't pull for this month's last big unit, you had no chance of completing anything. And even in when we searched for videos for inspiration to how to beat it, people tended to use always the same units over and over. So I really wanted to see some kind of variety, to something to incentivize people to uh, show how it can be done with not always using just the path of least resistance, just uh, the units everybody obviously recommended, but not everybody could pull, because if you just try to pull for every new unit, you obviously would spend all the resources very quickly.
Mm-hmm. And did you do this because you were having trouble and you wanted some team recommendations? Because that's what I initially thought, but I don't think that's actually true. Because I think you said, which we'll get to, you have a pretty good clear record.
Oh no, I obviously joke about it because I say it's just a selfish project. I want to save all my gems, and I want to clear everything with just 35 CPs. So go, my minions, record their videos and show me how to do it without spending. But no, not really.
I was gonna say, we always shout you out almost every episode, and I am always eternally grateful because I think the call to arms thread adds so much to the community. Like you've said before, a lot of players come out of the woodworks, like people we've never heard about, posting amazing results, and I think it's welcoming to people who chase high scores and people who create creative compositions. Sorry, are you trying to say something, Macnol?
No. But I can take it from here. I can say that it's been much more fun than I expected, because it got me in touch with good video creators. I had more fun preparing the list than I thought it would be possible, because I get to make little jokes about the team compositions and unused characters who people just bring life into the game by bringing them back to their parties. We have people who just one of the first inspirations I had was this video creator on YouTube called Excalibur, and he tries to bring Gilgamesh to every X he could after Gilgamesh came into the game. He suffered sometimes; it was not easy, but he had fun doing it, and it was always something to look forward to when a new event came, and to see how he would manage to do it. And other people took the example and started using their own favorites, even months after they were discarded by the community. And
Yep.
people can see every week I try to highlight those unusual runs, because sometimes the perception of the community is much different from the actual reality of the game. You have people who just follow what they hear about, what they see people saying on Discord, and repeat it as if it were true, but never actually try to do different teams and see if they work or not.
Right, that's great. And you turned me on to one of my favorite runners, Happy Harvey on YouTube. He does a lot of themed teams, and he even makes a little story for each of them. And he tried to run Kane for a while. He ran Kane a lot. I mean, not Kane still didn't get very far, but you know, like I really think Call to Arms has been the biggest bridge in the community for content creators and players to meet each other. Before we move on, Mark and Kriese, do you guys have anything to add to your opinion on Call to Arms?
I think my opinion on Call to Arms is pretty clear and stated over and over again. I think it's great. I think it's one of the best things to happen to this particular community, DFFOO, and I think it's going to, be awesome and continue to be awesome, especially as we get closer to where some of the difficult content has been in Japan now, moving into Cosmos and then Chaos, to maybe see some creativity from the global side that Japan just didn't get. So,
I think we were talking about that in our Discord. Is the fact of the matter is that the global player base is much, 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 much bigger than the JP player base. So all these things we've heard, we've debunked several times with our player base, because I guess more people get more kits and are willing to explore more. So we've seen a lot of shakeup. And, you know, if you see Dreamy's tier list is the only tier list floating around right now, it's pretty different than JP had at the time.
well,
Kriese,
but just simply, if you have, 100 people doing videos of clears, that's just a lot more information than some of the JP side of things has had. So you're just getting more variety.
Yeah. Kriese, anything to add to that?
I think it's been a great thing. I mean, I've used it before to come up with ideas for teams when I've had trouble completing events, and it's always amazing to see what better players than I can do with some of these characters and how they can make them work for this content. So I've always been a huge fan of it.
Yeah, I definitely use it for the Deuce and Agrius event, as Kriese said, to get some ideas on what kind of characters I could bring and what they could do. And it's always fun to see people, like, what the top score is. Again, we were just talking about JP versus GL community. I don't know if this is biased or not, but like, I know that we compile a bunch of, there's always, you know how ddxme on the subreddit, he always compiles like a preemptive strike, or Monte used to do it, and they used to always compile like a list of JP videos, scores they hit. And like I said, maybe it's a smaller player base, but so far I've seen GL hit higher scores, and we're at the point where time traveling is not a thing anymore. Like the Kefka LC, there's no more time traveling units as far as I'm concerned. I think Bart's came out, Bart's rework was around this time, and so was Dankrid, so we're completely caught up. So the scores that GL posts, it seemed like it's just a bigger community. I think that we can get more variety. Okay, so sorry. Moving on to the next question. That's a good segue, because you were talking about saving gems. When did you start playing, Macnol?
I started day one.
Day one. I think all of our people have been day one players, right? I think except for Kriese, who was like Squall event or something.
Oh, I was, if not day one, I was within the first week.
Somebody was Squall event, but either way, it's all very early. So Macnol, day one player, how many gems do you have right now?
Oh, I have exactly 500k. It's a silly little go ahead.
So how many of that is paid gems?
It's around 10k, I think. I bought one costume for Cloud because has Bando.
Okay, so 490k, yeah.
Because Final Fantasy VII is the most nostalgic to me. And
That's...
I bought, I think, 2 of the $1 gem sales they had.
Okay, so follow-up question. do you even like Final Fantasy? Because I don't think you're pulling on it. I don't think you're pulling for any of these characters since day one. Like, do you even like any of these characters?
Every time you say something like that, you set yourself up for me to rub in your face that I
Go
have more
ahead.
EX weapons than you.
Yeah. What are you at again? I forget. It's more than me for sure. What are you at?
I have 12 right now.
Yeah, that's sad for Mino.
12 is really good for saving 500k.
Yeah, 12 is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, and especially most of those are free to play gems too. Free to pay gems.
Yeah, but I have one thing in my favor. One thing that really helped me is because I always researched the game and I knew what to expect and I heard things about how it would change in the future.
Mhm.
So I made sure to have 1,000 tickets saved up for when the rate doubled.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So I could really make those resources go a little farther than they expected.
So have any of these like GL time travelers or switch ups ever thrown you off?
No, not really. I got lucky by actually getting them. I got Tidus EX when it came, and his 35 CP when it came the first time too.
Mhm.
I spent, I think, 15k to get his 35, and it brought me a long way. I also got Thancred and Bard's EX, so
Nice.
it's been very nice so far.
God, so lucky. God damn. It's like we're playing completely different games. All right.
Well,
I mean,
I did try to convince you to stop shotgun pulling and start sniper pulling because I
doing it
really
now.
feel it helps a lot. As I said, my motto is I choose very carefully on which banners I'm going to spend, but when I choose a banner, I do not go home empty-handed. I spend until I get what I want.
So listeners, this is a very, very nice thing to have because I think all the guests and the co-hosts so far, we usually advise for shotgun pulling or whatever. But Macnol here is one of the more extreme hoarders and one of the more detail-oriented planners. So this will be a treat going through these questions. Now that we know where he's coming from, what are 3 characters that you thought carried you the furthest?
I already talked about the first one. That was Tidus. Twice because
both. So
yeah, I got his 35 CP when it first came out, and oh my god, it was so good.
Right. Yeah.
It was one for people who started recently. When Tidus' weapon first came, it was a rarity to have bravery plus HP attacks. And he had one, and it was strong, and it got so many good debuffs on the enemy. It was really a tide turner. So yeah, he's helped me so much.
And so Tidus is 1, and I agree with that. I didn't get the EX. Did it help a lot? Because a lot of people were saying Tidus EX was a little overrated.
Oh no, I liked it a lot. It's not a home run like some others, because it's not an auto win button. But it made Tidus become usable again, and it gave him so much longevity. It's I come to learn about myself that I really love characters with longevity, where you can just spam skills, and you have more than one tool to use at any turn, and you don't have to keep saving your skills. So with Tidus, you can choose if you just want to bravery hit, if you wanted to apply debuffs, if you wanted to deal area damage. So yeah, I actually liked it a lot, and it's been used in the Call to Arms for several months.
So your other 2?
I'll have to think about it, because this was not one of the questions you sent me.
Yeah, I did. This is question number 1, 2, 3. Which 3 characters do you not regret chasing? That's what I meant.
Okay, so
do you have answers
for that
those?
one?
Yeah, okay, yes.
Oh yeah, in that case I have.
I was just rewording it.
Okay, another character I do not regret chasing is Lilithset.
Yeah.
But I did regret chasing her for a while,
Mhm.
because her 15 CP was a stupid little weapon that took me over 200 tickets to get. And I had to I did not actually use Lilithset when she first came out, because it was on chapter 11, I think.
Yeah.
And it was a time where it's not we do not have many hard fights, and when we did have hard fights, I had other toys to use. I did not need her.
Mhm.
But when she awakened, oh my boy, it's so worth having her. She became one of my favorite characters. She's always in a slot in my party, even not having an EX weapon. I just like having her so much, and she's a great companion for quizzes. So great return on the investment there.
Mhm. Last character?
The next one is Lightning, just because
Thank you.
it's gonna sound cliche, but yeah, she was very great when she came. She brought me, she carried me through a couple months, and she gave me Pepalimo too, who was also another beast that nobody expected to be even more useful than her.
Okay. Great answers. So, what 3 characters do you regret chasing and why? Are there any 3 that you actively pulled for and were disappointed?
Yeah, unfortunately, Daddy Laguna. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I did not plan to pull for him, but I got his World of Illusion weapon. So I really went after his kit, and I spent more power stones than I planned on him.
Mhm.
He was fine for a while. He was really nice to use in co-ops, but I never actually used him in any real hard content.
Mm.
Another
Any
one I tried to get, but I did not. But it's not something I really wanted. Was Dark Knight Cecil.
Mhm.
I threw some tickets on his banner trying to get his EX, but I suspect I would have regretted it even more if I actually had his EX.
The last one?
And my final regret is Vincent. Not because I chased and got it, but because I did not chase him ever. I always skipped his banner for one reason or another, because I thought his banner companions were not that good,
Mhm.
or because it did not seem like he would be so useful.
Mhm.
But I've seen such hilarious times when he shuts down bosses completely with his debuffs, and I wish I had gone after him just to have that fun.
Oh, yeah. And then to save a little time, well, let's combine these next questions a bit. But 3 characters either you felt that the community overhyped or underhyped. What's the God, I'm a little buzzed. What's the word there?
Yeah, I will not be I will not be too original in this, but
Sure.
Ash, everybody
Ash
knows why.
for overhyped, right? Yeah.
Overhyped
Yes.
completely.
Uh-huh.
And a pair of units that were on the same banner and I think were a little overhyped were Ace and Deuce.
Really? Yeah, you know what? I can see it, but they're still solid. But you're right; they might have been overblown. Hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
Deuce didn't last real long. I mean, you stopped seeing her not too far after she hit.
exactly. Yeah, she was used here and there. Some people still are very uh, efficient with her in the call to arms, but I thought they would make more of an impact than they did.
Mm. And then, so you're underappreciated characters.
Oh, that's an easy one. Ram.
Rem, I agree. I think I pulled for. No, I convinced myself to skip that EX, but I hyped myself up for a long time.
Yeah, Ram was so good, and so many people just forgot about her. And in the call to arms, there's mathematician PSC who uses her every single time, and he's showing her power again and again.
Hmm.
She was also very useful even for farming, because back when we had just Squall for farming, and I did not have his World of Illusion weapon, I still don't have it. She was just perfect. She always acted first before him. She buffed him, and she went to town. So yeah,
Yeah. Final character 7 here is saying Ace EX does so much to him, but his base awakening is so bad that he's still bad overall. I don't know. Carrying him through Ifrit boards, he's one of the better damage dealers I think we have. And by better, I mean in the top 50% at least. Because the awakening gave him the ability to keep his 3 cards, the 15% attack boost. I think that was really good.
I think the biggest problem with Ace is that his first ability burst is just useless.
It hits pretty hard if you really need to. You're right though. It's a one hit, right? So it caps at 9999.
Yeah, it's a one hit. It gives him a buff, but he can get buffs other places, and yeah, it's just a brave attack.
Yeah. Final character 7 saying, yeah, I mean, I've been surprised by some characters' usefulness on Ifrit too. And yeah, I'm not saying Ifrit is the single content we should base it all on, but Ifrit's like huge fat defense is probably what we should be thinking about when the next power creep comes. So knowing certain characters, like I pinned Krise's quote about realizing Kane actually hits pretty damn hard, is that some of these characters survive big power creeps and stat creeps a lot better than others.
Oh,
That's
remember
for
they're
damn
all buffed in Afreet too. Everybody's buffed.
right, but because they're all buffed, they're all on the same level.
Oh, that's true.
Like
Yeah.
Warrior of Light, he was hitting like 1 to 100 damage from me. Kane could still like cap out. So like, you know, and you know, the defense ignoring attacks, you could never sell those short. So sorry, last two unappreciated characters, Macnol?
My
Macnol?
unappreciated characters are Yuffie,
Hmm.
because now everybody can see how useful she is. She's not. I know it's not right to say she cheeses content.
Yeah.
But she not only in that sense, but she's also just so fun to use for me because she can battery, she can deal HP damage, she can debuff, she can remove buffs, debuffs from your party. She's very, very versatile. I like that. And the final one is Cypher, because I I just like I have one team I use for clearing easy content like regular chapters, and I love putting Cypher on that team because his overflow is so good. He can clear waves like they're nothing. Especially if you put him with a Lily set on the team. She can debuff and she can give him back.
Were you the one who said that Cypher is part of your trash clear group?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. You're not the only one too. I think Decrith for sure as well. I just didn't have any of his weapons or want to invest in it. But yeah, it sounds like he's not terrible. So I look forward to what they do with him in the future. Last question is, what advice would you give yourself for when you first started the game?
I would tell myself to start writing down, keeping a record of every pull I make since the beginning of the game.
What the?
Because it's very. I just like taking a look at what I pulled.
Mm-hmm.
It helps me so much when I go like 50 tickets without anything, or I think, oh, fuck, I've had such a bad streak. But if you take a look at what you've at your aggregate results, you can see that it all averages out, so you don't feel bad if you go some time without getting anything.
Oh, that was a lot more optimistic than I thought it would be. Because I know other people who track their pull records and complain about how bad their luck is. So I thought you were gonna. Yeah, go ahead.
There's another reason too. You can notice patterns and you can get a lot of good stories to tell. You can say, oh yeah, I got screwed by such and such banner, or I got such X in 3 tickets. You can remember it so much easier if you have a record.
Right. I thought you were gonna tell yourself to start Call to Arms earlier.
That's a good one, of course.
Okay. So thank you for those answers, Macnol. Again, I'm still surprised we're still getting unique answers to these questions after so many guests. I guess there really is a lot of ways to play this game. But Mark, what do we have next on the agenda?
Yeah, we have some discussion, and I want to tell everybody who is joining us on Twitch right now that after the podcast, we are going to stick around, do some polls, and maybe some co-op on stream. So keep hanging around with us. But for those of you who are listening to the podcast, please feel free to join us live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard or 1 a.m. UTC time. For us to get the little extras, but we thank all you who are listening. Yeah, some discussion. We got an email from our friend Jake Williams. Thank you, Jake, for your email. Jake also has his in-game friend code encouraging people to listen to TCC podcasts. So thank you to all of you who do that or share our website, tccpodcast.com, on your friend code. That does help build our community.
It really does. I wanted to say, like, most of my friends list now, I see a lot of people converting to their message to TCC podcast. I appreciate the support, and I realize that's why I have the friends I have, because people who don't listen to the podcast probably don't want my Kane support on their friends list.
Hey, and just before we talk about Jake's email, if I know, at least for me, if you have friended me and I'm Rev HP on DFFOO, if you have friended me and I have not friended you back, send me a message in Twitter. I run all the social media. So on our Facebook, on our Twitter, you can email me or you can just message me in Discord, and I'll be happy to follow you back. So if I haven't followed you back, it's not because I don't like you. It's just I don't know that you're necessarily somebody who's part of the podcast family. So Jake's email, basically, just to break it down, during the live stream, the Square Enix live stream, we did not hear and we did not get in the calendar confirmation that Renoa was going to drop this month. We got a little, Renoa emote, but nothing really conclusive that Renoa was going to drop this month. So Jake wanted to know, well, are they going to maybe drop a global exclusive to kind of throw everybody up in the air? You know, everybody's been hoarding for Renoa. You know it from Reddit. You know it from main cord. Everybody's saying, save to Renoa, save to Renoa, save to Renoa. Joshua's there. Glacey's there. Other people from Square see that. Is this an opportunity for Square to come in, throw an exclusive, throw a time traveler, throw an early rework, make everybody spend their gems and make everybody pay for Renoa? I think that's the heart of his question. What do you guys think?
Kriese,
I think you're the best person for this. What do you think?
I do not think we're getting any special global exclusive on the level of a character or an early EX or an exclusive EX or anything. Honestly, because we just got something big with Beatrix, and all of the talks, all the interviews they had immediately after that basically said, this took a year to set up. I doubt we will be getting anything this soon afterwards, especially without any sort of build-up or hint towards it. And there's also the fact that they did have that Renoa emote on their slides, and they hinted heavily that Renoa is coming, even though they did not explicitly say it. So I do not think there's anything, no surprise there.
I mean, I'm inclined to agree. It is such short notice. I don't think they're gonna spring it on us, but I don't know. Macnol?
Yeah, I don't think it's very likely at all.
Maybe we'll get Renoa EX Plus. No, wait. No, maybe the Renoa sticker meant global first exclusive Adea or Ultimacia. Yeah, right.
We're gonna get Ultimacia, just no EX Plus.
Or SAS EX.
Yeah, this is like SAS 35 all over again, right? Yeah.
That would be, Ultimacia would be a little bit more than SAS 35. So thank you, Jake, and thank you, everybody. You're always willing, you're always welcome to email us. Our email is, I believe, kupo@tccpodcast.com. Or you can just check us out on Discord or Twitter at FFTCC Podcast. That's probably the best way to check into us, either Discord or Twitter. But you can email us, and we do have an email. So another discussion question for today boils down to, whose advice should you listen to? And I think this is important, especially as our own Discord channel has grown a little bit. Main cord, there's several thousand people on main cord. Our personal Discord is not that big, but it's a decently healthy community with a lot of different players of a lot of different skill levels and a lot of different opinions. So I thought we should talk a little bit about, how do you disseminate good advice, and what kind of advice are you looking for? So you want to start with that, Kriese?
Sure. I was originally thinking of this in the context of seeing some people giving advice based on current Japan game, on the current Japan game, where people were saying, "Oh, this character in 10 months when they get their 70 Awakening and their EX Plus are top tier, you should pull for them now because you'll have that character 8 months down the line." And I was like, "Are you serious? That sounds crazy." And my thoughts there is that the game can change so much. We saw that with Beatrix. We've seen that with early Awakening reworks. We've seen that with early EX weapons. It does not make sense to plan that far in advance. And for that reason, I think it's important to see what a lot of people are saying, what a lot of people are thinking is good to pull on and what is not good to pull on. And ask yourself, why are they saying that instead of just taking it at face value?
Yeah. Macnol, any thoughts about this?
Oh, I completely agree with Kriese. And every time somebody asks me nowadays a question about, oh, X and X character, do you think it's a good investment? Do you think it's gonna be worth pulling now because of his EX Plus or because his rework in Japan? I have even stopped paying attention too much to Japan because if you look at what we have now in our meta, if you take a look at the top scores or the most used units in the call to arms, it's completely different to what was used in Japan at the time. Our game is changing in some not so big ways, but it's significant enough that you do not want to be to have a script ready in your head and try to follow it without looking at our current context.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, sometimes I go back and forth with, even like Rosa. Right now, Rosa's really helpful in Japan, and certainly when she gets her EX Plus and her 70 and her rework, there's no reason to think she won't be good. But is it worth pulling now? Because so much can happen in that span of time, a year plus from now to then. So I think you do have to be careful. And just in general, right? I mean, everybody's play style is different. Everyone's experience is different. If someone says, no, this character is trash and they don't have that character and they haven't used that character, be careful about who you're listening to. Make your own judgment about that kind of stuff. Mino, anything else you wanted to add in that area?
I don't understand the question. Maybe it's because I'm had too much to drink right now, but don't you just listen to yourself? Like for who you want to pull? Are people following other people exactly to the T on who to? I don't know. I feel like it's very obvious to make your own decisions, but if you're asking me personally, I base all of my pull decisions on Eamon's advice in our Discord server.
So you're gonna pity Golbez tonight, right?
Yes.
I didn't say
I
didn't say I follow his advice. I said I base my decisions on its advice. So because he told me to go all in on Golbez, I'm not touching it at all.
So that does transition to our next thing. So, hey, if you are with us online, if you're watching right now, if you're not, we'll try to explain it as best we can for you at home. I'm going to transition the stream right now and let me know if you see a picture. So right now in our stream, there's a picture of the Efreet farm fight. In it, Efreet seems to have, I'd say, about 20% health left. He has 3 framed buffs, 1 debuff being poison. It is turn 16. Efreet summon is activated on the player. There's no friend unit available right now. Thancred just died. Vanille is dead, and Snow is dead. So, what went wrong with this picture?
Okay, yeah, let's go by one. What do you think the worst?
Let me know on Twitch if you can see the picture. So, what went wrong with this picture?
I'll go first. I think the biggest mistake is, why does Ifrit have 3 frame buffs on with a Vanille in the fight? I think the Dispel is, if any one thing we could pick out, I would say the Dispel.
First of all, CSAM, thank you for the subscription. Yes, if you're watching us online, feel free to subscribe. And if you're a Twitch Prime user, we like your subscriptions. Do like us and follow us. But I didn't even realize. I didn't realize a Free could get those other buffs.
So Gonzo69 is saying, "Why is Snow dead on turn 16?" But so my
Snow's
thing
dead on
is,
turn 16 because he has 2,500 health.
I didn't even notice that. So, yeah, sorry to just the pure podcast listeners. I don't know if this is an experimental segment. I don't know if we want to do a visual component every week because this sucks for people just listening. But
We
yeah,
might need to have a link to this image in our show notes.
Yeah, we'll put a
yeah,
link to
you're
the
right.
image on
You're
the show
right.
notes.
Okay, so for me, the most egregious error here is the 3 framed debuffs. Well, what do you think, Kriese? What is the worst mistake you see being made here?
Why is there no Quistis friend? Why is there no friend?
Why is there no friend?
Oh my god, I can't do this anymore.
Why is there no friend? Like, you went into a free summon farming without a friend? Like a
Expecting to
3.
carry a deadweight character Snow with 2,500 HP.
Oh my god, I can't.
That seems problematic. Yeah.
No, if anything, I mean, I want to say this person was trying meta the game because Snow has that passive where if he's above 50% HP, he can't be outright killed. Any lethal attack will bring him to 1 HP. So if his max HP is only 2,500, that means he only needs a single like Frost Strike or whatever it's called to heal himself up to invincible range again. So that's pretty smart. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt here and say that's what they were shooting for.
The Frost Strike is percentage HP based. He wouldn't be able to get himself back too far.
Okay, never mind. I take it back. Macnol, what do you think is the worst mistake here?
I think you guys already covered everything basically. I don't see any debuffs on Ifrit. He should have even. I don't know. Really, the lack of a friend is the most extreme mistake here because it's so easy to choose this fight with the Quistis. You can just do it as a DPS race and kill Ifrit before he even acts.
Is this the 150 Ifrit fight?
No, this is 100.
This is the
Oh.
level 100 farmable Ifrit.
Oof. Oh, and people in chat are saying it's not 2,500 HP, it's 2,500 Brave.
Which
We
means
don't
he has a 1-star weapon or something equipped.
Yeah. Mark, your take?
Yeah, this is a hot mess. That's all I got to say
Okay,
about this.
you guys touched on an important point. This guy, Snow is dead because he died. The person who sent the image said he died first turn because he could not survive
Oh, yeah.
Ifrit's first attack.
Makes sense.
Oh my
He
god!
was at
I
the
didn't even
start of the
think about
battle.
that. I didn't even think because Ifrit's first attack is like what 2,000 damage or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So yeah, first rule of business: bring your carried unit to level 25 first. That's a good way to start.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Any other times?
That's a good message. Don't farm characters who don't have levels. Yeah.
I want my
Go to bed, please.
runner-up reward is 2 super synergy characters in a fight. I think that's a little overkill too. But all right, that's all I got.
All right. Well, looking ahead, June 11th is the start of Summer Festival Part 1. Then we got Lena LC on June 16th. June 21st is Summer Festival Part 2. So we're heading into kind of the lull of the month with hopefully some things going on. But we don't know what Summer Festival is bringing us. So we know there's going to be double EX banners. We know the first draw will be free. So look forward to that. Besides that,
I
not
think
really sure what to expect.
we speculate the popular speculation is it's the last 4 of the 6 reworks. We got Bart's and who else did we get early, Kriese? Bart's and
Thancred.
Bart's and Thancred. So it's Cloud, Ishtola, Onion Knight, and Furion,
Furion.
who are still missing
Their
reworks that they got about this month, right?
Yep.
So they might be the 4 EXs because they're all returning, right? They didn't say any new EXs. So 4 returning EXs, maybe the reworks. Tons of gems, double cycle rewards, double daily rewards. Yeah, good stuff.
All right. Well, that has been episode 57 of the Crystal Chronicles. I encourage you to join us on all of our social media. You can check out our website, www.tccpodcast.com. All of our information can be found there, including all of our episodes as soon as they launch. We are FFTCC Podcast on Facebook, at FFTCC Podcast on Twitter. You can check us out on Twitch at The Crystal Chronicles. We do record this every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time or 1 a.m. UTC time. Live, we are on a little bit before and a little bit after. Come join us. We always have a good time. And sometimes we do other things on Twitch. So follow our Twitch channel, and you can catch up on that. We also are on YouTube. You can check out The Crystal Chronicles if that is your preferred viewing method. And you can join us on our Discord. There's our Discord channel in the Twitch chat. If you're listening online, just go to tccpodcast.com and you can find out the link to our Discord channel. Macnol, if we want to get in contact with you and follow your information, where do we go and what do we need to look for?
You can look for my index of the threads I make on Reddit, if it's my content you're interested to. If you want to talk to me personally, you can go to TCC's Discord channel, where I hang out several hours per day, herding weebs. Has been my favorite pastime this week.
Yes, Arolai and Macnol are our weeb herders, and that is Macnol, Macnol. And so you can search that on Reddit, and you'll find him and all of his good work. So, for myself, Mark, for Minospelgud, for Kriese, a.k.a. Sir Rink, and for Macnol, this has been the Crystal Chronicles. We wish you all the best week and the best of luck. Until next week, goodbye.